Hey there, history buffs. Today, we're diving into a fascinating chapter of European history. The Great Northern War was a transformative conflict that reshaped the balance of power in Northern Europe. It pitted the Swedish Empire, a dominant force in the region, against a coalition of Russia, Denmark, Norway, Saxony, and Poland-Lithuania. At its heart, this war was about control over the Baltic Sea and the rivalry between Sweden and Russia. In today's lecture, we'll dive into the causes, key battles, and outcomes of the Great Northern War, and how it laid the foundation for Russia's emergence as a major European power. At the dawn of the 18th century, Sweden was the dominant power in Northern Europe. Under leaders like Gustavus Adolphus and Charles XI, Sweden had built a strong military and controlled vast territories around the Baltic Sea. This made Sweden a natural target for its neighbors, who wanted to challenge its dominance. On the other hand, Russia, under the young Tsar Peter the Great, was eager to expand its influence. Peter had grand ambitions of modernizing Russia and gaining access to the Baltic Sea to create a window to the west. His ambitions brought him into direct conflict with Sweden. In 1700, the anti-Swedish alliance consisting of Russia, Denmark, Norway, and Augustus the Strong of Saxony-Poland saw an opportunity to strike. They believed the newly crowned Swedish king, 18-year-old Charles XII, would be easy to defeat. Thus, the war began. Despite being outnumbered and surrounded by enemies, Charles XII quickly proved to be a formidable military commander. In the winter of 1700, at the Battle of Narva, Charles achieved a stunning victory over Peter the Great's much larger Russian army. The Swedes, using superior tactics and discipline, inflicted heavy losses on the Russians, forcing them into a humiliating retreat. Following this victory, Charles turned his attention to Denmark and Poland. Over the next few years, he successfully invaded Denmark and forced King Frederick IV out of the war. In Poland, he dethroned Augustus the Strong, installing a Swedish-friendly king, Stanisław Leszczyński. By 1706, it seemed like Sweden was invincible. Charles XII had knocked Denmark and Poland out of the war, and Russia appeared to be on the back foot. However, Peter the Great was not easily defeated. He used the years following Narva to reform and modernize his army. He adopted Western military tactics, improved the training of his soldiers, and reorganized the Russian economy to sustain the war effort. In 1707, Charles XII launched an ambitious invasion of Russia, hoping to deal a final blow to Peter. However, he faced a determined and evolving Russian force. Peter employed a strategy of scorched earth, burning crops and towns as the Swedish army advanced. This deprived Charles' forces of food and supplies, slowing their progress. By the time the Swedes reached Palava in 1709, they were severely weakened. At the Battle of Palava, one of the most decisive engagements of the war, Peter's army crushed the Swedes. Charles XII was wounded and forced to flee to the Ottoman Empire. This marked the turning point of the war. After the Battle of Palava, the momentum shifted decisively in favor of Russia. Over the next decade, Peter consolidated his gains and expanded his influence in the Baltic. He founded the city of St. Petersburg in 1703, symbolizing Russia's new status as a Baltic power. Meanwhile, Charles XII, ever the warrior king, refused to give up. In 1715, he returned to Sweden and resumed his campaigns, this time targeting Norway. However, the war was taking a heavy toll on Sweden's economy and military, which could no longer match the combined strength of its enemies. Charles' death in 1718, during the siege of Fredrikstad in Norway, effectively ended Sweden's ability to continue the war. Without their charismatic leader, Sweden's position became increasingly untenable. The war officially ended in 1721 with the signing of the Treaty of Nystad. The treaty marked the end of Sweden's status as a great power and confirmed Russia's rise in Northern Europe. Under the terms of the treaty, Russia gained control of important Baltic territories, including Estonia, Livonia, and parts of Finland. Sweden, on the other hand, was left weakened and diminished, although it retained its core territories. For Peter the Great, this victory was the crowning achievement of his reign. He not only secured Russia's access to the Baltic Sea, but also transformed his country into a major player in European politics. In recognition of his achievements, Peter took the title Emperor of all Russia, and Russia became known as an empire. The Great Northern War was a pivotal conflict in European history. It ended Sweden's time as a dominant regional power and marked the beginning of Russia's rise as a major force in European affairs, a role it would continue to play for centuries. The war also signaled the start of a new era of empire building and modernization, particularly for Russia under Peter the Great. His reforms laid the groundwork for a stronger, more connected Russia, and his legacy endures to this day. Thank you for joining us for this look into the Great Northern War. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the conflicts that shaped our world.